This is a tutorial for the World War II test short answer question number 2. First, we have the question. Explain the Nazis' plan for the master race. Identify groups that were targeted and methods used in carrying out the plans. Oops, there's a typo on the question. That's all right. Once again, I'm going to recommend that you break this question into 3 parts. Here are the 3 parts. Part 1. What was the master race and what was the Nazi plan? Part 2, what groups were targeted? And Part 3, how did the Nazis carry out their plans to destroy those targeted? Let's start again with Part 1. Part 1, what was the master race and what was the Nazi plan for that? First of all, they created a pretend race which the Germans and the Nazis named Aryans. And this group tended to be Germanic people who were blonde hair, blue-eyed, and tall. The plan for the master race was to expand them by encouraging reproduction, and this was done in a variety of ways, but one we read about in class were the Lebensborn homes, where women went to actually have as many babies as possible. Then the idea was to expand German living space, or Lebensraum, into Eastern Europe, another typo, for the Aryans to live. 2, what groups were targeted? And by targeted, I mean targeted for destruction. The groups included Jews, Gypsies, or the Roma, Poles, mentally and physically handicapped homosexual people, and political opponents. And Hitler planned to destroy them. Now, the third part, how did Nazis carry out their plan to destroy those targeted? The first step was to remove citizenship and rights from the targeted groups. For example, the Nuremberg laws stripped Jews and other groups of their German citizenship. Next, they had programs to isolate the targeted groups, for example, requiring them to move into walled ghettos. And this is when they started to do the medical killing of groups in hospitals, which they called euthanasia, which means mercy killing. But the Nazis didn't really do mercy killing. They just killed those that they didn't like in hospitals. Next, as the Nazis moved east during the war, they started to have shooting squads and mass graves as they went from town to town in Poland and the Soviet Union. And then finally, the Nazis created the final solution, which was the plan to destroy all of Europe's Jews, where they moved them into concentration and death camps, and they had starvation, slave labor, and eventually the gas chambers.